I couldn't hide my disbelief, my eyes narrowing as I blurted out, "Seriously, Dad? How old is she?" My voice was sharper than I intended, and I watched as he chuckled softly, trying to brush it off with a nonchalant shrug. He seemed unfazed, as if my shock was just part of the game. I clenched my fists, feeling a mixture of embarrassment and annoyance boiling inside me. I looked at my dad with a mixture of curiosity and disbelief. His grin was mischievous, and I could tell he was enjoying himself way too much. My eyes narrowed as I demanded, silently wondering just how old she was. I hesitated, reluctant to get an answer, feeling a surge of annoyance and embarrassment flooding over me. He seemed unfazed, leaning back casually with that relaxed, confident air. I couldn't help but feel my cheeks flush with embarrassment. My voice came out sharp and frustrated. "Dad!" He chuckled softly, shrugging as if to dismiss my reaction. "She's 32, he finally said, almost as an afterthought. My stomach clenched. "Dad, I'm 28, I reminded him, trying to process the situation. He waved a hand dismissively, a playful glint in his eyes. "I'm just having a little fun," he said, as if that explained everything. I was speechless, overwhelmed by a mix of embarrassment and disbelief. "Dad, this is absolutely humiliating." He leaned closer, grinning broadly. "We're not getting married or anything," he added. "We're just having a little fun." He smiled playfully and reached out, almost as if urging me to come closer. I felt a tight knot form in my stomach, and my instinct was to pull back. I shook my head slightly, trying to hide the discomfort that was bubbling up inside me. I didn't want to meet her. Not like this, not in this awkward moment. He chuckled softly, sensing my reluctance, and nudged me with a teasing grin. "Come on, honey, let me introduce you." My cheeks flamed with embarrassment, and I instinctively looked away, feeling overwhelmed. I silently begged him not to push me further. Still, I watched as he turned to Jade, gesturing toward her with a flourish that made the situation even more surreal. "Jade, this is my daughter, Jordan," he said casually, as if introducing someone to a neighbor. Jade offered a polite smile, her eyes warm but cautious, and I managed a small nod in return. My voice felt small and meek when I responded, "Nice to meet you," even though I wasn't sure I truly meant it. He grinned, clearly enjoying himself, and asked, "So, what do you think, honey?" His tone was light, but I felt the weight of the moment pressing down on me. I hesitated, unsure how to reply. My mind was racing. Part of me was trying to process the situation. Another part was desperately wishing I could disappear. Finally, I admitted softly, "Dad, I'm not exactly sure what to say." Just as the conversation reached a lull, my dad's phone buzzed in his pocket. He glanced at the screen, his expression shifting to one of professional focus. Without missing a beat, he excused himself to answer the phone. He'd been called in for a quick consultation at the hospital just down the street. He assured us it wouldn't take long, probably no more than a few minutes. He begged Jade to stay because he was only going to be a few minutes. As he grabbed his coat, I watched him head for the door, knowing that in the world of medicine, even a short call could mean saving a life. The hospital was so close that I could still hear the distant hum of activity from the hallway as he stepped out, leaving me standing there, caught between the strange new reality and the quiet anticipation of his return. "Jordan, I'm not exactly sure how long your dad is going to be, but you don't have to keep me company." I promised my dad I would. "Well, you can lie, can't you? Just tell him we played nicely." Jordan narrowed her eyes, half joking, half curious. "So what are you, my dad's sugar baby now?" Jade didn't miss a beat. "Yes," she said with a smirk, And unfortunately, I'm going to have to charge him extra for leaving me at his house to babysit his daughter. Really? Jordan blinked, then burst out laughing. Jade? Seriously? Jordan, I'm honestly joking. Jade chuckles. You came at me with the whole "am I a sugar baby?" So I was just being a jerk back to you. Okay, you've got jokes. As Jordan waits for her father to return to the hospital, she offers to order dinner. I figured about time my dad arrives, the food will be here. How about I make dinner? So what are you trying to impress my dad? Nope, I'm trying to impress you. One day, you could be calling me Mommy. Girl, you're only a few years older than me. They both chuckle. As Jordan and Jade enter the kitchen, the awkwardness begins to wear off. Jade's confidence and expertise in the kitchen are palpable, and Jordan finds herself drawn to her infectious energy. When Jade reveals that she's a chef at a local restaurant, Jordan is impressed and eager to learn from her. As they start cooking together, Jordan feels a sense of pride and responsibility, knowing that she's Jade's sous chef for the day. The air between us was light and easy, and she suddenly looked at me with a teasing smile. Wow, you smell good, she said, her tone playful. I grinned back. I was just thinking the same thing about you. There was a moment of shared laughter, and I couldn't help but tease. We're wearing the same thing, aren't we? She rolled her eyes, amused. Jordan, it definitely smells better on you, she replied, her tone warm and teasing. I beg to differ, the awkward tension melting away. So, what's really up with you and my father? I asked, turning the conversation a little more serious. What do you want to know? His favorite position when he's with me? Oh my God, Jordan yelled out. All Jade could do was start laughing. Your dad was at my restaurant last week, and he asked me out. I said, sure, why not? And here we are. Nothing has happened. You could see the sigh of relief on Jordan's face. Jade, what restaurant do you work at? So I actually own a small restaurant downtown called Paisley's. Jordan's eyes widened up. She appeared shocked. Wait, you own Paisley's? Jordan asked. I do. That is my favorite restaurant. Jade, is it really? Yes. Wow. So, do you still think I'm trying to be a sugar baby? Jordan smiles. No answer needed. Wait, Jade, I'm more confused now than ever. You are absolutely gorgeous. You can have just about anybody you want. Why my dad? Jade chuckles. Oh, you think I'm gorgeous? Stop. You know you're hot. Jade, uncomfortable with taking compliments, says thank you and just smiles. He asks me out for drinks, and I said yes. She glanced at me with a mischievous grin. Here, taste the sauce. Her eyes sparkled with amusement as she handed me a spoonful. I took a bite, and my eyes widened. Ugh, oh my God, it's so damn good. It's better than... I trailed off, savoring the flavor. Better than what? She teased, raising an eyebrow. I chuckled. Jordan, come here. You have sauce on your face. Jade reaches up to Jordan's face to wipe the sauce off for her. All Jordan could do was smile. As the two ladies sit down for dinner, Jordan phone dings. My dad just got pulled into surgery. It looks like he won't be back anytime soon. He said he apologizes and will call you later. Okay, maybe I should go, Jordan. No way. You made all this food. You have to stay. Jade dinner was delicious. Thanks. They settled into the cozy glow of the fireplace, the crackling flames casting a warm light around them, and a bottle of wine. The conversation flowed more easily now, a relaxed and genuine exchange. Jade looked over at me, a curious expression on her face. So Jade asked casually, Jordan, do you have a boyfriend? She hesitated for a moment, taking a sip of my wine, before responding with a small shrug. Not since the 10th grade. Her voice was matter-of-fact, but she felt a little amused at the simplicity of the answer. I'm gay. Jade, I would ask if you have a boyfriend. Haha. She tilted her head with a playful smirk, eyes gleaming with mischief. Why are you single? She teased. I mean, come on, you probably have men and even women lining up around the block. You're gorgeous, you've got a banging body, you cook like a dream, you're successful. Shall I keep going? The teasing was warm, like a dance they'd done 100 times before. Jade sat in silence, her gaze fixed, unreadable. The air between them thickened with tension. Jordan shifted uneasily, her voice cracking through the quiet. Are you okay? Did I offend you? Did I make you uncomfortable? She asked, words tumbling out in a rush. I was joking. Say something. Stop staring at me. Forgive me. I'm sorry if I... Before she could finish, Jade leaned in. Stop talking, she whispered. Then, without warning, she kissed her. It wasn't just a kiss. It was electric, slow, deliberate, and impossibly tender. Jordan's breath caught in her throat. Her heart raced. It was, without question, one of the best kisses she'd ever experienced. Jade sat in silence, her gaze fixed, unreadable. The air between them thickened with tension. Jordan shifted uneasily, his voice cracking through the quiet. Are you okay? Did I offend you? Did I make you uncomfortable? She asked, words tumbling out in a rush. I was joking. Say something. Stop staring at me. Forgive me. I'm sorry if I... Before she could finish, Jade leaned in, her hand gently resting on her arm. Stop talking, she whispered. Then, without warning, she kissed her. It wasn't just a kiss. It was electric, slow, deliberate, and impossibly tender. Jordan's breath caught in her throat. Her heart raced. It was, without question, one of the best kisses she'd ever experienced. Jade sat in silence, her gaze fixed, unreadable. The air between them thickened with tension. Jordan shifted uneasily, her voice cracking through the quiet. Jade pulled back, her eyes wide with sudden realization. Oh my God, Jordan, I'm sorry. Don't be, she said softly. She laughed nervously. Let's just blame it on the wine. Jordan's smile faded. What am I going to tell my dad? Jade's expression shifted. He's going to hate me. I kissed his girlfriend. Firstly, she said, her voice firm, I'm not his girlfriend. And secondly, I honestly don't think you should tell him. Jordan nodded slowly. Exactly. It was one kiss. It didn't mean anything, right? Jade tilted her head. Are you asking me? Or are you telling me? She hesitated. It was a nice kiss. Jade, she said gently, don't say that. Why not? Because I want to kiss you again. She looked at her, torn. And you're dating my father. Jade leaned closer, her voice low and steady. Jordan, kiss me. I can't, she whispered. Their faces were inches apart now. Jade's breath brushed her cheek. Kiss me, she said again. Jordan's voice trembled. Jade, once I start kissing you, I don't think I'll be able to stop. Then don't stop, she said. I really want to, she admitted, but I just can't. What about my dad? And just as the words left her mouth, the door creaked open. Hey, ladies, Dad said as he stepped through the door, shrugging off his coat. How did you guys make out? Jordan stood up from the couch, trying to keep her voice steady. Dad, glad you're back. How did the surgeries go? Both patients are recovering well, he replied. He turned to Jade, offering a polite smile. I'm so glad you're still here. It's actually getting late, and I'm exhausted. I'm gonna say goodnight. Jordan, it was really nice to meet you. Feel free to stop by the restaurant anytime. I'm gonna head upstairs, Jordan said. Have a good night, guys. The silence that followed was heavy. Jade didn't say much after that. She gathered her things quietly and headed for the door. The next morning, Jordan padded downstairs, still groggy. The smell of eggs and coffee drifted through the kitchen. Her dad stood at the stove, flipping pancakes like it was any other day. Honey, did something happen between you two? Did she say anything? Jordan shook her head. No. Why? She just said she didn't think it was going to work out. Dad tried to sound casual, unaffected. It's not like I was developing feelings or anything. No love lost. Her dad raised an eyebrow. I thought you liked her? I just thought she was hot, amongst other things. She owns a successful restaurant at 32. Pretty impressive, don't you think? Absolutely, Jordan replied. Her dad looked up from his coffee, smiling warmly. What should we do today? It's nice having you back home for a couple of days. I could get used to this. Jordan rolled her eyes, laughing. Dad, please don't. Her phone buzzed. She glanced down. My landlord just left a message. My water's back on. Oh, honey, he said, a little disappointed. She smiled, but her mind was elsewhere. Days passed, and Jade lingered in her thoughts, like a song she couldn't shake. Jordan tried to rationalize it. Should she tell her dad? What would she even say? That his not-quite-girlfriend kissed her? That she kissed back? That it meant something? Or maybe nothing at all? Maybe it was the wine. Maybe Jade was just caught in the moment. Maybe Jordan was too. But the questions didn't go away, so she did the only thing that felt right. After work, she drove to the restaurant. It was packed, as usual. The hum of conversation, clinking glasses, and sizzling pans filled the space with life. She slipped into a seat at the bar, ordered her favorite meal and a drink, then leaned toward the bartender. Would it be possible to speak with the owner? She asked. The bartender nodded and disappeared. A few minutes later, a manager appeared, polite but cautious. Hi, ma'am. Is there an issue? No, Jordan said quickly. I just wanted to see if the owner was available. Okay, the manager replied. Can I have your name? Jordan. He nodded and walked off, leaving her alone with her thoughts and the low thrum of nerves building in her chest. A few moments later, the manager returned, his expression unreadable. Actually, in her office, the manager said, gesturing toward the hallway. I'll take you to her. Jordan followed, her heart thudding with every step. The restaurant buzzed behind her, but the hallway was quiet, lined with framed photos and soft lighting. The manager knocked gently, then opened the door. Jade looked up from her desk, surprised but composed. Hi, she said. Hey, Jordan replied, her voice softer than she intended. Forgive me for just showing up, Jordan added quickly, stepping inside. No worries, Jade said, waving it off. You're good. Jordan lingered near the doorway, unsure whether to sit or stand. How have you been? Jade leaned back in her chair, stretching slightly. I've been good. Busy, but that's a good thing. Jordan smiled. You and me both. There was a pause, just long enough to feel the weight of everything unsaid. So Jade asked, How have you been? I've been good. Thanks, Jordan replied, then hesitated. How's my sugar daddy? Jade laughed lightly. He's good, thanks. With a quiet grace, Jade stood and walked around her desk, now facing Jordan directly. Her expression softened, curious. Jade leaned against the edge of her desk, arms loosely crossed, her gaze steady. Dinner brings you to my restaurant, she said, voice low and curious. But what brings you to my office? Jordan hesitated, fingers brushing the hem of her jacket. I'm not too sure, she admitted. I guess I wanted to apologize for that night. Let's just blame it on the alcohol, Jade stated. Jade's expression didn't waver. I kissed you, she said plainly. So there's no need to apologize. We're both consenting adults. Jordan nodded, unsure what to say next. Right. Okay. Well, I guess I'll leave you be then. Have a good night. She turned toward the door, reaching for the handle, but before she could leave, Jade stepped forward and gently grabbed her arm, spinning her back around. Jordan barely had time to respond before Jade pressed her against the door, her lips grazing the back of Jordan's neck. A shiver ran down Jordan's spine as Jade reached up, pinning Jordan's hand above her head, her kisses trailing slowly, deliberately. Jade whispered, her breath warm against Jordan's skin. And by the way, I like girls too. With a quiet click, Jade locked the door behind them, her mouth finding Jordan's again, this time on her lips. The kiss deepened, slow and hungry, pulling them both into a moment that felt suspended in time. Is this what you came for? Jade asked between kisses. Jordan didn't answer. She didn't need to. Their bodies pressed together, the kiss growing more urgent, more intense, until a knock shattered the moment. Jade broke away, breathless, unlocking the door quickly. Her manager stood in the hallway, looking apologetic but firm. Jade, we need you. Do you have a moment? Jade nodded, glancing back at Jordan. Can you give me a minute? Jordan nodded, smoothing her hair, trying to steady her pulse. When Jade returned, Jordan was still standing by the door, unsure whether to stay or go. I feel bad, Jordan said quietly. I've interrupted your workday. You're fine, Jade replied, her tone soft but practical. But I do have to finish up here, and if I keep getting distracted, she smiled, I'll never get out of here. Oh my God, Jordan said, flustered. I'm so sorry. Forgive me. Jade tilted her head. It was nice to see you. Have a good night. Jordan turned to leave, but Jade's voice stopped her. Wait. Jordan paused. I'm heading to my family's cabin tonight, Jade said. I know this is weird and extremely sudden, but would you want to join me? Jordan didn't hesitate. Yes, I'd love to. Jade smiled. Meet me back here in 2 hours. Pack for the cold. And bring a bathing suit. We've got a hot tub. Jordan pulled into the restaurant's parking lot just as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm, amber glow across the city. Her stomach fluttered, not from hunger, but anticipation for the weekend. Hey, Jordan replied, trying to sound casual, though her heart was racing. You ready? Jade asked, grabbing her coat from the back of a chair. As I'll ever be. They walked out together, the cool evening air brushing against their skin. Jade's SUV was parked out front, already packed with a few bags and a cooler. The drive was quiet at first, the hum of tires on pavement filling the silence. But soon, conversation flowed. Music, food, childhood memories, and the occasional teasing glance. The city lights faded behind them, replaced by winding roads and towering trees. By the time they reached the cabin, the stars had taken over the sky. The place was tucked deep in the woods, surrounded by pine and silence. Jade unlocked the door and stepped inside, flipping on a lamp that bathed the room in warm, golden light. Make yourself at home, she said, kicking off her boots. Jordan wandered in, taking in the rustic charm, the stone fireplace, the worn leather couch, the shelves lined with old books and family photos. Dinner was simple but comforting, pasta tossed with roasted vegetables, a bottle of red wine breathing on the counter. They ate near the fire, plates balanced on their knees, laughter echoing off the wooden walls. After dinner, they moved to the couch, wine glasses in hand. The fire crackled beside them, casting flickering shadows across their faces. Jade leaned in, brushing a strand of hair from Jordan's cheek. I want to kiss you again. Jordan didn't answer. She didn't need to. Their lips met softly at first, then with growing urgency. Jade's hand found Jordan's waist, pulling her closer. Jordan responded instinctively, fingers tracing the curve of Jade's jaw, the rhythm of the kiss deepening. The fire roared beside them, the warmth wrapping around their bodies as they melted into each other. Jade pulled back just enough to whisper, "Come with me." Jordan followed her through the cabin, past the flickering firelight, into the quiet warmth of the bedroom. Jade turned to face her, brushing her lips once more against Jordan's. This kiss was slower, more deliberate, less urgency, more intention. Jordan's hands found Jade's waist, pulling her closer until there was no space left between them. They moved together with quiet ease, shedding layers of clothing and hesitation. The room filled with the warmth of skin against skin, breath against breath. The outside world faded. The only sounds were the crackle of the fire and the soft rhythm of their connection. Their lips met in a kiss that was no longer tentative. It was deep, hungry, and full of everything they hadn't said. Jade responded instantly, pulling Jordan closer, their bodies aligning as if they'd done this 100 times before. As the bedroom door clicked shut behind them, Jordan turned to face Jade, her eyes dark with anticipation. The firelight from the living room spilled in softly, casting flickering shadows across the wooden floor. Jordan stepped closer, her fingers brushing along Jade's cheek before sliding into the dark waves of her hair. Their lips met in a kiss that was no longer tentative. It was deep, hungry, and full of everything they hadn't said. Jade responded instantly, pulling Jordan closer, their bodies aligning, as if they'd done this 100 times before. Jade's eyes roamed over her body, taking in her ample breasts and the tantalizing curve of her hips. She licked her lips, her desire for Jordan growing with every passing second. Jade's fingers hooked into Jordan's panties, sliding them down her long, toned legs. Jordan stepped out of them, standing naked before Jade. She reached for Jade, her fingers deftly undoing the buttons of her blouse, revealing the lacy black bra beneath. Jade's breath hitched as Jordan's fingers traced the edge of her bra, teasing her nipples into hard peaks. Jordan knelt before Jade, her fingers hooking into the waistband of her pants. She pulled them down, revealing Jade's black lace thong. Jordan's lips trailed kisses along Jade's thighs, her breath hot against her skin. Jade's fingers tangled in Jordan's hair, pulling her closer as Jordan's tongue darted out, teasing her through the lace. Jade's moans filled the cabin as Jordan's tongue found her clit, her fingers sliding inside Jade. Jade's hips bucked against Jordan's face, her orgasm building with every flick of Jordan's tongue. Jordan's fingers curled inside Jade, finding her G-spot and sending her over the edge. Jade cried out, her orgasm crashing over her like a wave. Jade's legs trembled as she came down from her high. She pulled Jordan up, her fingers tangling in her hair as she kissed her, tasting herself on Jordan's lips. Their bodies pressed together, the heat between them palpable. Jade's fingers found Jordan's clit, teasing her as Jordan had done to her. Jordan's moans filled the cabin as Jade's fingers slid inside her. Jade's thumb found Jordan's clit, circling it as she thrust her fingers in and out. Jordan's hips bucked against Jade's hand, her orgasm building with every thrust. Jade's fingers curled inside Jordan, finding her G-spot and sending her over the edge. Jordan cried out, her orgasm crashing over her like a wave. Their bodies entwined. They collapsed onto the bed, their breaths mingling in the cool night air. Jordan's fingers traced lazy patterns on Jade's skin, their bodies still humming with the remnants of their orgasms. They lay there, basking in the afterglow of their lovemaking, their hearts beating in sync. As the night wore on, they explored each other's bodies, their moans and gasps echoing through the cabin. And as they drifted off to sleep, their bodies entwined, their hearts beating in sync, they knew that this was just the beginning. "What am I going to tell my dad about us?" Jordan asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "Tell him whatever feels true," she said gently. "Or tell him nothing at all. What happened between us, it's yours, ours. No one else gets to define it." Jordan looked into her eyes, searching for certainty, for permission to feel what she felt. "I didn't plan this," she said. "Neither did I," Jade replied. "But I'm not sorry." Jordan smiled, a little sad, a little brave. "Me either." Outside, the wind stirred the trees. Inside, two women sat in the quiet aftermath of something unexpected, something real. Whatever came next, truth, silence, or something in between, they would face it with the memory of firelight, laughter, and the kind of kiss that rewrites everything. And for now, that was enough. The end.